Hello there. Good morning. Welcome to another edition of Knox to Nuggets. I'm still your host, Oluwayomi Ute, and it's such a joy to come your way this beautiful, beautiful day. And today just started with all shades of different things, but I'm glad we're together again. Thank you to every single person joining me live. I do not take it for granted at all. Thank you so much. And like I will always say, you already know that Oliver Twist. Please like the video, share it. Let's build this community together. Let somebody out there know that there is something called Knocks to Nuggets. And for those of you that would be watching after, thank you so much for giving me the share of your time as well. I do not take it for granted at all. Please remember to like the video, to share it, and to let me have your feedback. It will do me a whole world of good. Thank you so much. And today we're still on the journey of parenting. And I have a guest in the house. Now, she's no longer a guest, she is a part of the family. Her CV is intimidating. I shouldn't try to read it all, but suffice to say, she's an entrepreneur, she's a mother, she's a grandmother, she is an ace broadcaster, she is a coach, she is a mentor to several people. She has held key positions both in the media and even off media. She is also into the NGO space, giving women life, particularly the widows, letting them know that it's not the end of the world. Fantastic work out there she's doing. But please receive with me today as we talk about parenting today, what single parents need to know. If anybody can tell you that, I know she's one person that can give you that information. And really, it's not just single parents in terms of a single father or a single mother. All of us at a point in time act as single parents. Sometimes your spouse has traveled. Sometimes you're taking care of a child all alone. Maybe your sister's children, your sibling. At a point in time or the other, we all act in that space. So it's for every one of us. So join me today as I receive into the Knox to Nuggets studio, Regina Chris-Ogbodo. Hey, good to have you back in the house.
Thank you so much. Excellent morning, afternoon, evening, depending on what time. I just want to say I'm delighted to be here, ma'am. Thank you so much for considering me to be here this morning.
Thank you so much for agreeing to be here. Knowing your schedule, I don't take it for granted at all. A Monday morning, but thank you so much for being here.
Welcome.
As I talk about this, and because I need to maximize this time, otherwise I'll keep you for 2, 3, 4 Mondays still talking about this same topic because it's so relevant. Now, I know your journey. At least I know a bit of that journey and how you have to transit from being a daddy and mommy scenario to a mommy and daddy in mommy scenario. And for a lot of people, and some children will tell you, oh, I'm like this because I don't have a father figure. I'm like this because I don't have a mother figure. I'm like this because, and some women out there are like, what do you want me to do? There's no husband to talk to. Some men out there are like, what do you want me to do? There's no woman to talk to. So single parenting is that space that could be very challenging. Let me start with this. How are you able to transition from having your husband by you, taking decisions with him, working together on the parenting journey with him, to this space where you are the daddy and you are the mommy, you are the grandfather and you are the grandmother? How are you able to transition successfully?
Wow, quite an interesting question. And I get to be asked that question many times. And then I tell myself, I like the way you chose the word transition. The truth of it, I didn't transition, it bumped on me. It just bumped on me. Or is it I bumped into it? No, I didn't bump into it. It just came on me, right on my face. And I had to adjust. Now, not intentionally at the beginning, it wasn't intentional, but then as time went on, it's been 10 years now. Interesting.
Yeah.
As time went on, I began to realize that I had to face it. One of the key ways of becoming quote and unquote successful in this journey is to accept the position you found yourself in. And so acceptance, and The earlier, the better, especially for those of us that are widows. We know we have different categories of single
Single.
mothers, those that have had it because of marital situation, and those that have had a child without a wedlock. And so, but I'm talking particularly based on the question you've asked. And so, people in my space, the widows especially, must should I mustn't say must, because grieve, it's very interesting. Some take years to get to that stage, though we psychologists have given us those stages XYZ. But you see, this word acceptance is one of the most difficult, because you grapple, especially when you're of faith, you grapple with accepting that God still loves you. You
Mm,
grapple also with the situation, especially when you had big battles with your in-laws, especially
mm,
within the African climb. There is hardly any woman, a widow, that I have not met. I mean, that I have met that had not had that, I mean, friction. I'm using it mildly. Some, it's
mhm,
so horrendous that it takes them years. And so they question and question and question why they're in that position. And so
mm,
before they get to accept it, weariness are setting, and if care is not taken, depression, and of course throwing
mm,
yourself your hands up and telling yourself you can't do it. So
mm,
what I did is, God helping me, and I must throw this quickly, is that I'm a woman of faith, and then the
mm,
fact that I accepted to allow God. There
mm,
are other people in
mm,
faith that cannot. In fact, I have some that tell me to my face that please leave that God thing. In fact, before you
mm.
tell them anything, they'll tell you, Mama, don't pray. I don't want
Don't-
this. You know,
Wow.
they're fighting you, and then you kind of wriggle it out, and then many anyway, by the grace of God, get to accept that okay is your situation. So acceptance, as simple as it sounds, it's one of the greatest hurdles any single mother within the widowhood space goes through. I mean, finds difficult. So I accepted.
Mm,
I think it took me a year or so. Although I
wow.
went through those rigmarole and people were thinking, oh, she's accepted. I didn't. Even that 1 year that I'm saying I accepted, I just knew that, look, God, you did it. I don't have a choice with you. I'm stuck with you for life. So I
Mm,
felt like I really kind of blackmailed God to say, you see, you put me in
wow.
this position. All right, let me take it. But
Mm,
in his infinite mercy, he understood my predicament and
mm,
just played along and was watching me like the big daddy that he
mm,
is. So
mm,
looked at me and allowed me to vent, allowed me to complain. Sometimes I literally just ignore him. And I
mm,
got to a point that I knew I couldn't do it alone. And so what did I have to do? This guy has gone.
mm,
Girl, wake up. And the
mm,
dream and ideas we've had together, the promise we had promised ourselves about the children I mean, in fact, even my personal life, I can't tell
mm,
myself, did I throw this away because of an event? And which is
mm,
why I tell widows, I say, that you lost your spouse is an event, it's not your entire life. And the earlier you accept that, the better for you. You
mm,
see, you must see it as an event, like
mm,
any other thing, like someone waking up to the doctors and being told diagnosis of cancer. It's devastating. I have never been there, and I empathize, but I've seen people reveal it. So when I say that, I say, wow, this one is as good as saying, you see, they've been given an
mm,
ultimatum. You're not living. How much more me? I have the hope. You know, I wasn't the one. It could have been me, but I'm not the one. So what do I do with this space? Accept and begin to think of what to do. That's
mm,
it.
mm, mm. Wow. Accept and begin to think of what to do. That's deep. Because really, like you rightly said, acceptance is sometimes it looks to us, the external, that you have accepted. we
Exactly.
we look at you and say, oh, this person is very fine, because there's the smile, there's the dressing, there's the command of English that holds everybody spellbound, and just so this person is fine. But it's actually so far from fine, because you know
Right.
the battles that you are going in. So that is your battle. Let me now ask you this. Let's come to the children, particularly the girls and their daddy.
Oh my
How
God.
are you able to handle the children at that early stage? How are you able to deal it?
There was this Facebook reminder. Did they call it reminder? Okay, memory. That
Memory.
was that just fell on my face recently. I wish I had shown it to you. Maybe you just catch the picture of the stage. I stared at that picture for days. I kept looking at it. I kept looking at it. I saw how little they were.
Hmm.
11, I think 11 or 12, then 9, and then someone going to 5. And I look at how far they've gone. And I
Hmm.
began to retrospect, to wonder, what did I do? I didn't even have it in mind that you would ask me this question. The truth of it, particularly the girls, is that if we don't take time as mothers, we will lose them.
Hmm.
God did it in his own way to make sure that there is a crossbreeding of relationship deliberately. Mothers and their sons, girls
Mm-hmm.
and their fathers deliberately,
Yeah.
because God knew that they would ultimately have to relate with the opposite sex, as
Hmm.
marriage or any other thing. So they needed to have. I didn't have that. Now my children, like you in my profile, are being a broadcaster, and television was so demanding that I can't claim that I had a relationship with them.
Hmm.
I can't claim that I was a present mom for a good period of those times,
Hmm.
but their dad was literally there. I knew that I made sure I went for open day, I made sure I went for PTA, but that was it. Because till tomorrow, there are some stories that would tell me you were not there, mommy, and they feed me in of that space. Sometimes I feel guilty, but necessity was actually the reason. And I'm
Hmm.
ever grateful for a present dad that stood in the gap at that time to cover up for me, because they would always tell me that their dad made excuses for me. And he would
Hmm.
call them daddy. And it's not because he was not a working father. And to tell you that he was into productions,
Yeah,
but
I know.
he wriggled things out just to make me. Oh God, I'm
Hmm.
getting emotional.
Yeah, I
I had
know.
I had a man that helped me build a career, because I started a little bit late, because he wanted me have the children, blah blah blah. It wasn't easy for me to accept, but when I did, he was all out to allow me grow, and so I put my head in it. I didn't know the life would happen. So let me
Hmm.
just answer this. You see, these girls, I had to understudy them. Humility has to come in. I had to accept that I was going through, but they were also going through. And that's what many people, I mean, society itself does not even help. We
Mm-hmm.
talk so much about widows that we sometimes we actually put the children as an addendum. They're just
Hmm.
there. They're just an apology to that discussion. Yes, we talk about orphans, but how many times do you hear orphans, orphans, orphans? All you hear is orphanage. We
Mm-hmm.
don't have the stories of orphans. We if we take our time, I think it will be better. We'll have a bigger picture. I had this girl that were mourning, they were going through pain, they were asking God questions, because we had introduced them to faith, knowing God on time. But in their little way, they could not understand why this guy would go. My daughter
Mm-hmm.
told me recently that he would go to the sitting room and sit. I recall seeing her, but I was mourning. I would always be in my room. She was always waiting for her dad for many months. And I was really not there to say, what is going on? Because I didn't even know that that was why she was there. She's a voracious reader. So she would pick a book and sit. Once in a while, I come to the sitting room, I say, what are you doing? We need to close the door. She said, I'm coming. It was just recently she told me that she left the door open. Sometimes she could leave it and forget and go to bed, thinking that he would open the door and come
Mm.
in, but he was never there. And then there was the other younger one that is quite, they have temperament differently. And that one is very good at talking in her pain. How
Mm.
is to write? And she's not a writer per se, but she would
Mm.
write the pain. And once in a while, I began to, I think it got to a point I began to read those things. She would tell, you said you're going to do this, you're going to do that, but you're not there, you're not this. But the boy was a little bit young, so it was easy for him to be weaned from that pain. He attached it
Mm.
immediately to me. But let me answer you with the girls. You see, we can't ignore them. I had to become a friend quickly, and I
Mm.
adjusted my work schedule. I actually had put off from work before he died, but I had to go back to work. And I realized that when I went back to work, it was a little bit selfish because it wasn't just because I wanted to take care of them. I wanted to forget the pain. I thought work would cover up. And so I was deep in that and did not raise my head until I got that signal. I just told myself, look, how much would I be paid? And that this particular work that I got, it was worse in every sense. I would leave home at 4 in the morning. The driver would come and pick me. I'm in the morning at 5 o'clock. I'm on a morning drive show for 5 hours. I come back home at as late because of the distance. I would come back home as late as to 11 in the night. And then, how are you girls? Come, come, come. I was drowning myself like a drunkard would do. Some people, because they're drunkards, they alcohol, they would go. I was drowning myself in the work, and I didn't know them. I was losing them. It got to a point one day, I just left the job. And then it was a little bit abusive. I woke up one day and said, look, if I die, I die. I don't
Mm.
know how I'm going to feed these children. But you know what? I need to have my girls back. So the journey began. I will ask questions, monosyllabic responses. How are you?
Mm.
Fine. And the mother in me wanted to pull them out. Oh, come on, speak to me. I said, hey, I understood that if I did that, they would withdraw to their shells. And so I decided to just communicate. I began to use what I know how to do. Just speak, look up something, dance with them, play with them. And one day, one of them said, I can't believe I'm seeing you this morning.
Mm.
I said, yes, I'm here. She said, you mean you're not going to work? And they hugged me. This is it. Don't go. God will take care of us. They were the ones encouraging me. For a period of 2, 3 months, I wasn't doing anything, but I was rebonding with my girls
Mm.
and began to see them. That, when life began to happen, there's milestones talking about menstruation. I was so glad that they could come out and speak to me. I knew if I had been in that kind of workspace and that kind of itinerary, nobody would tell me anything.
Mm.
They began to open up to me to the point that they could tell me their fears. One day I sent them a note after they were in school. I said, tell me your greatest fear. And one of them
Mm.
said, I feel like I would die soon. I'm telling you this. I wept. She said, I feel everywhere tells me that I'll die. I asked her, I said, why? She said, because Dad died suddenly.
Mm.
So there was a pattern the enemy wanted to ingrain in the life. It was just an intuition. I believe it was the Holy Spirit just clicked it in me. And I needed to ask. I just sent them a random message, all of them. And I got that answer. And it became a prayer point. Over a period of time, one day I asked, do you feel like that? I said, no. Say, funnily, they didn't know that I took it as a prayer. She said, "Mom, funnily enough, you know, I don't even feel like, I feel like, bring devil, you can't try me.
Mm.
I looked at myself, Regina, this time would have gone.
Mm.
If that belief had ingrained, a pattern would have begun.
Mm.
I mean, I can I can go on. I didn't know it was going to be this emotional for me, but
Wow.
that's it. That's it.
Hmm.
My goodness.
Mama Reg, like we'll call you, I mean, informally. I mean, it's even me, I'm just talking, I'm looking at you and saying, wow, wow. It's,
Yeah.
looking at you from afar, nobody can actually describe the journey. And listening to you again and again, I'm like, wow, this is, and I'm so happy I'm bringing Ogechi on soon. And interestingly, she was supposed to be on today, talking
Yeah,
about what
actually.
girls think about their dad. But we'll come back to her, and I'm sure I will have her in the studio maybe
Yeah.
next week, Monday, hopefully, or sometime soon to have our own side of that story. But
Yeah.
you said, really, you said some things that I think everybody, and like I said at the beginning, single parenting, yes, to a large extent, we talk about those who are widowed, widows, widowers, but beyond that, there are the divorcees, there are the people that
Yeah.
never got married, and there are those whose spouses just walked away. So they are
Yeah.
alive, but they're not in the life of the children. They just took a walk, they're just not there, and just find
That's it.
yourself there alone. And what you said from the beginning just catches it all. Accepted, which is why I think a lot of us of faith miss it. We try
Mhm.
to drown in faith, confess
Yes.
it, receive it. And so, no, I'm not accepting this, God forbid. And we say that God forbid again and again, and it's staring us in the face and actually getting worse. When God is
Yes.
saying, arise, shine, we are saying, God forbid. So the first thing is really
Yeah.
accept it. It's happened. You can't
Exactly.
reverse it. You are here. So accept it. But when you said that, you said something almost immediately after. You said, be humble to face the reality. And I'm like, really? Be humble. But then that's what it is.
Yeah.
Take it the way it is. But become a friend to the children. But are there other things? Because now time is really fast spent and I don't want to hold you too long. But I'm sure I'll
Okay.
still come back to you on this because it's so deep and a lot of people out there need to understand how to face this. Like I said, it's not a transition, it bumped on you, and then you have to now grow
That's
and
it.
find yourself in it. But
Yeah.
so yes, accept it, humble yourself to understudy these children, become their friend. What else? Because like you said, the in our climb, the in-laws are another set of people. And the society,
Exactly.
there's a stigma on both the children and the mother, consciously or unconsciously. I mean, you say school's doing something and they say, come with your dad, forgetting that some children don't have a dad.
Exactly.
Come with your
Exactly.
mom. Because some parents don't have a mom. Well, they just
Exactly.
give it as that. Come with your dad. And you leave the children to stagger through it and know what to do. What else do
Exactly.
you tell the single parents out there? What else do they need to do apart from these three things?
Okay. Apart from it, you see, I talk about, I'm one a little bit, I try to stir some kind of controversy. Sometimes when we always say, may the children be your best friend, it's not always consistent. They
Mm,
can't be best friend consistently, especially as a your best friend. You can't beat, or you can't, to some degree you can't discipline your best friend. Let's be
true,
realistic.
true.
You can't, because someone is a bestie and then you begin. You can't. She will walk away or you walk away. So you
Mm,
must draw the line. Friendship with discipline must come together. If not, you will become emotionally blackmailed. You see, there are moments that because daddy is not there, you think you want to provide everything that he would have, and you don't
mm,
have it. You don't have it. That is where being stern, being disciplined, or disciplining should come in. There is, and I find it amongst the widows or single mothers generally. Single mothers that come from a divorce angle, they're so possessive that they don't allow. They are always defensive, blocking, don't want. But the widows, we tend to, we're protective, but we want to say, after all, he doesn't have a father. Let's give him that
Mm,
freedom. He needs to be
mm,
low. If you do that, you will cry in the future. Discipline is very important. Sometimes it can be hard. When you
mm.
do it, you go back inside, you think, am I not being cruel? But the
Whoa.
truth of it, you are not. You see, every single mother must understand the role of discipline. If you don't want a repeat of a situation, do not even allow it to start.
Mm,
Children can be blackmailers. Hey, I'm with every sense of responsibility. I'm saying this word. They want to, okay, that is not yet. Give us now. It would have been, if you was there, you were to be there, especially the ones that were always getting what they wanted. And you were
mm-hmm,
always that side. They would want to
mm-hmm,
blackmail me. And so I drew that line. You don't emotionally blackmail me. We're in this
mm,
together. You understand me, I understand you. You see, I'm not daddy, but I play the role of a daddy. So you know what? When I step out from a mommy, just know that this is daddy speaking to you. And the daddy by nature is a firm person. The daddy by nature is a direction giver. A mommy is a coordinator.
mm.
So sometimes I'm giving direction and I'm insisting. Now there, my son is in his teenage age, he's somewhere there reading for his way. I'm sure he's smiling. I become so stern, he can't understand why. I have to do that. Not because I know that if his daddy were to be here, you would do that. Because
Mm,
I saw when he rose up to discipline. And so why would I keep up? So this time around, you must know the voice of mommy at some point, and you must know the voice of a daddy.
wow.
Yes, improve. Expose him, especially the boys, expose him to some people that you know can give him the big brother figure that you have studied over the years. You have studied, and that's what I expose my son to certain young men that I know that these ones have to a high degree I can trust. They would give him that. I invite them to the house to have a feel because he's the only boy. And so
Mm,
I can imagine in his head, he's talked with us women living in girls' hostel. You know what that means. I jokingly say that. Sometimes I want to go through his head. So what do? I'm not a daddy. So I expose him to that. But when it comes to saying, look, you can't always have your way. I am a mother because the girls always think I love him more. Oh, I favor him more, they say. So sometimes I step out of being a mother and he sees the father. And I
mm,
hope to God that he understands. Every single mother, you should know that you're playing that dual responsibility. Don't think that giving and saying yes to everything means love. A no can be very loving. At the end of the day,
mm,
it's not, don't be in a hurry to be understood. Don't be.
mm.
Sometimes I don't. It takes a period of time and then you understand. And then you say, you tell me thank you. I have a line that they all know, my children know. I want to shout now. Then they'll say, so that you'll be quiet when you're old. I have the energy to scream. When I want to scream, they know it. And I say, I've done that because I want to rest. I want to have a quiet old age, quiet and being really just enjoying and just chipping in one word. Let me do all the hassles now. Disciplining. Please, single mothers, widows, please don't let them. Don't also throw on them a responsibility that they are not ready for just because that
Mm,
is not there. We were talking about this, it was in church. And it, clung to my head. I said, yes, sometimes we just throw that responsibility all in the name of that is not that they're helping me. And we expose them to abuse, societal abuse. You know, you can't have everything for now. So within
mm,
your means, teach them being content. And so as we get bigger, we become stronger, then I allow you. But don't throw that child out and say, go and begin to fend for us. We have predators that I'd
mm.
rather we eat 101 than release them in the name of 111 In the first place, who brought the idea? I've always questioned that. Who really said we must eat 3 square meals? Who said so? One very good meal can keep you till evening, you eat, and then you go to bed. So why don't you just adjust? That's just it. That's it.
Why don't you just adjust? Yeah. Wow. I can go on and on this. We've done, oh wow, time is well spent. We have to come back on this topic someday. We just have to come back. Because I'm looking at it and I'm saying to myself, yes, we need to adjust. But the Christianese says, and we hide behind the cloak of the Bible because we are people of faith, and we make it mean what we want it to mean just for our own selfish ends. And really, at the end of the day, the truth of the matter actually is, from your first point, we actually haven't accepted that situation. And we are trying to do everything to make that situation go, but it's here to stay. Mama Reg, thank you so much. I have to let you go for time. But honestly, this is part 1. Trust me, I'm going to look at the schedules again and come back. Maybe we'll make you the Father's Day edition. I'm just thinking about it. We might actually bring you back on Father's Day for the Father's Day edition.
Oh my God, that would be quite interesting.
Yes, I think so. I'm really thinking that now, because there's still so much to talk about on this matter. But one thing you have said, which cuts across everyone, whether you are a single, married, widowed, divorced, whatever, as long as you are alive, assess your situation and accept it.
Exactly.
We're not saying now live under the table and stay there crying. No, you must accept it to move on.
Exactly.
One thing you must do is move on. It's happened. It has happened. You can't reverse it. You can't rewind time to make it different. It's happened. You have got to move on. I don't know where you are in life and you're finding it very difficult to move on. Hello, you have to move on. Face the reality. But for today, I just have to press that pause here. I wish I can continue because so many questions are just coming into my head. But I'm sure when I talk to Ogechi and I'm coming back to you, I know I'll have many more questions for you. But thank you so much for being so open and vulnerable to share your story with us. But trust me, I'll be back. Most likely the Father's Day edition with Mama Reg. That looks nice. I think I'm liking that already.
That's quite an interesting thing that would be. Thank you so much. I appreciate, and I don't take it for granted either. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of the day and have a beautiful week ahead.
Welcome. Thank you. Yeah.
Wow. I almost feel like not letting her go, honestly, because it's so much to chew from her. And one thing she said, and like I said before I let her off the stage, no matter the phase you were in, accept it. Just sit down, look at the situation and say, this is where I am now. Number 1. Number 2, this is where I'm going and I've got to get there. So you can get up, you can move forward. It's been interesting talking with Regina Chris-Ogbodo today on what single parents need to know. And she gave us a few points, and we will bring her back. Most likely Father's Day edition. We need to still talk more on this because there's so much we need to know. You don't have to be a single parent to learn from this. All those points apply to you, whether you're single, you're married, you're divorced, you're a parent or not. They are all life principles that make you live successfully. Life is all about principles. If you walk the principles, you will get the results. Thank you so much for being with me on this program. For all of you online, thank you so much. I really appreciate. And for those that will watch thereafter, thank you again and again. I don't take it for granted. And like I'll always say, please like the video, share it. Let somebody out there know that there is something called Nugs to Nuggets. And until I come your way in another edition of Nugs to Nuggets, same time, same day. So next week, Monday, 7:45 a.m. West African time. Remember, if you can think it, you can be it. And yes, you can have it. God bless you. Enjoy the rest of the week. Bye for now.